Hi, I'm Liz with Liz's Crafts, and today I'm going to show you how I made this little tray with Resin Crete. And this is my package of Resin Crete, and I did get it off of Amazon. It was $15.99, and you do weigh it in grams. So for every 100 grams of Crete you use, the powder, you use 30 grams of water. So in this case, I am using the 100 to the 30. So you pour your water in your powder and then you mix it up. And my cup was a little full there, so I'm just trying to be careful not to splash it out everywhere. And you can color this with acrylic paint. And I'm going to use bird's egg. It's a kind of a greenish color. But any of your paint that you mix with the Resin Crete is not exactly the color of your paint because of the Resin Crete being this stark white. It will lighten your paint. So you need to keep that in mind. Like if you were to use a red paint, it would never be red. It would turn out pink because of the whiteness of the Crete. And the thickness of this with the water, and this is just by Folk Art, I think it is. I don't know, just some paint that had been given to me. The thickness of it, once you get it mixed up, is about that of just regular milk. It's pretty thin. And when you add acrylic paint to it for the coloring, you usually have to spritz it a little bit with some water or add a little bit more water to it. Now this wasn't as dark as I wanted it to be, so I'm going to add a little bit more of the acrylic paint to it. So there I am, spritzing it with my water. I go to pour it, and I do end up, I think, spritzing some more water in it. I just felt like it was a little thicker than what it needed to be. Once you work with it for a while, you'll figure out the consistency. But you know, they say 100 grams of the powder to 30 grams of the water, which is the mixture I used for this tray. And again, I borrowed this mold from my neighbor. Thank you, Lonnie. So I'm trying to get the liquid down in the mold around the sides and the edges there. I'm going to have to take my spoon and work it a little bit. Because if you don't if you don't get it all down in there, wherever you have air, that's going to leave a bubble and it's not going to be pretty. Now I did pour it all in there, but I realized a little bit later that, hey, I probably shouldn't have poured all this in there. So you'll see how I fix that. Still trying to make sure that I have it down in the nooks and crannies. And look, there I am putting the rest of it in there, when really I should have been taking it out. But you'll see, I fix it. Because when I go to do this to make sure there's no air bubbles, I'm having kind of a hard time because I did really overfill the mold. So there I am, just using my finger and trying to get some of the excess resin crete off. And it says it's non-toxic. It says kids can use it too, so I didn't figure there would be any problem with me using my finger on it. So again, just trying to get out any air bubbles that there might be. And taking off some of the excess resin crete there. Gonna work on the bubbles again. I mean, it really doesn't have a lot of bubbles, but with this one here, the way the edges were, I just wanted to make sure. I think that was a couple of bubbles right there. And you'll see, I got off enough to make 2 hearts. And actually, one of them I only filled up about halfway. That's that one there. The other one, I was able to fill it up all the way. This one says XO. And the other one says Kiss Me. Now, I had made these before Valentine's Day. And I waited 30 minutes for this one, and I'm going to demold it. But you'll see in a minute, I should have waited longer. It about broke my heart. I was sad. This end came out really good. And this was a thin pour. I mean, it was. So I should have waited longer to demold it. And this is where it went wrong right there. Oh, look at that. Look at that. I was like, are you kidding me? Then I tried to get this out, and then I broke it in half. Really, Liz? You had to do that? Oh, man. I was so disappointed in myself. I'm like, yeah, I should have waited longer than 30 minutes. I probably should have waited about an hour. But you know what? I took some super glue. Well, I'll tell you about it later. So I'm going to work on the hearts. Now, these hearts have been drying for days. No, they haven't. I'm sorry, they have not been drying for days, I don't think. No, I'm telling you lies. So this was after I demolded them. So I'm just cleaning them up like I did in a previous video with the beads. So I'm just using my sander to smooth off the bottom edges of the heart. This is the smaller heart, so I had to work on it a little bit more than the other one. It was the thinner heart. So this was just with the leftover resin crete that I had from the tray. So I didn't want to throw it out. I didn't want to waste it. So I'm like, okay, let's make a couple hearts. So again, just sanding the bottom of it. I don't have to do anything to the top or anything like that. So there it is. This is the skinny one that says XO. I'm just blowing it off, blowing the dust off. So there it is. XO. I know you can't see it real good, but that's what it says, XO. And this one, I don't have to do a whole lot to it. It's the one that says Kiss Me. Oh, and I borrowed the heart mold from my neighbor too. He has tons of molds. I'm so lucky to have a neighbor like that. He says, oh yeah, you can borrow them anytime you want. Don't worry about it. He uses resin, so. He uses the 2-part epoxy resin. I usually use the UV resin. And now I've been using the Resin Crete. So yeah, I didn't have to do a whole lot to this one. And I sand it pretty lightly too. So there they go. There's both of the hearts. Forgot to show you this one. Kiss me, kiss me, kiss me. There's the back of it. And now we're back to the tray. Look, it's all together. So I used the super glue from the Dollar Tree right there and put it back together. Now you can see the cracks, but we're going to fix that. At least on the front anyway. So I'm using a Maker Studio sizing, gilding size. Yeah, gilding size. And I'm just going to put it on the cracks. And then I put it around the top. And then you'll see in a little bit everywhere I put it. I just kind of got carried away with it. But I definitely wanted to put it on the cracks. And then I wanted to do the other end like this end to make it look like, it was on purpose. And this is going to be my tray, so I'll probably put jewelry or something like that on it. So you put your gilding size on and then you wait for it to get tacky. So it does have to dry a little bit. It needs to be mostly clear when you go to put on your gold leaf. So you'll have to let me know in the comments, have you ever done gold leaf and what do you think of it? I think it's a little bit messy because it goes everywhere and you have to make sure your fans are off or it's going to blow all over the place. And it will kind of stick to you for a little bit, but I do like the look of it. I really do. And I probably didn't need to show you all this. But, you know, you can fast forward, but I do put a little design on the bottom of it. Sometimes it's just hard to know where to cut your video. Okay, do people want to see all this or don't they want to see it? It's just, I don't know, it's hard to know. Because, you know, sometimes people take stuff out of their video and you're like, well, how did they put that on? Or what did they do with that? And then you're kind of lost. So, I mean, you know, it's just hard to tell unless somebody tells you, hey, you know, leave more of that in, or, you know, take more of that out, or speed this up, or who knows. I just do it how I think people might want to see it and go on with it. So I do decide to put it around the edge of the bottom there, around the whole thing. I was just going to do the 2 end pieces, but then I decided to do the whole thing. And you can get the gilding size and the gold leaf from Hobby Lobby. I used to be someone who sold a Maker Studio stuff. It didn't last very long. I didn't do a very good job of selling the stuff, so they had to let me go. So I'm just putting some designs on here. I probably shouldn't have done this part of it on the bottom, and you'll see why in a little bit. But I did it, so hey, what's done is done. And there's my gold leaf, again from a Maker Studio. And I'm just going to start laying it on where my gilding size was put. It goes on pretty good. And I do keep my scraps. Whatever I scrape off, I have a little container that I put it on. Because if you're doing UV resin or something like that, you can put little tiny pieces in your resin. So make sure you keep your little scraps for this. Don't throw them away. This is the container I keep mine in, and I had a couple of bigger chunks in there. So I just pulled them out and put them on my tray. Then I went ahead and got another sheet. Oh, I'm getting ahead of myself. Okay, I take my dry brush and I brush the excess off. And while you do that, you're kind of pressing down on it so that you're making it stick to your tray. And whatever excess you get off, you can put on your gilding size that doesn't have anything on it just yet, which is what I'm doing right there. So you can kind of see the design coming through. And where the cracks were on the outside part, I just left it because, you know, this is my piece that I'm going to keep and put on my dresser or whatever. And then, you know, just kind of put my jewelry in it that I take off. And, you know, unless somebody picks it up, they're not even going to see it. So this is where I get another piece of the gold leaf out and finish putting it on the tray. And it will stick to your fingers. Kind of has static electricity. Take my brush and clean it up. And you do want your brush to be dry. So it's looking pretty good. Probably didn't need to leave all that in there, but it is what it is. And then what I did was I took a piece of a paper towel and decided to go over it with that. And I think that helped a little bit. So I think it turned out pretty good. Like I said, I probably shouldn't have put the stuff in the very bottom, but I did. And anyway, this is just a dry paper towel. I didn't wet it or anything like that. I'm just going over it, trying to get more of the flakes off that aren't sticking to the gilding size. But it did cover up the part that I had to glue together. And at least it's a whole tray, so I'm happy about that. I'm just picking a few more pieces up and putting them in one spot where I thought it didn't get the gold leaf like it should have. Okay, I think that turned out pretty good. And now I have some stickers that I had gotten off of Amazon too. So it's two different girls with some flowers, and in the middle it says silence is gold. And I just put them on there and make sure they stick down really good. I don't want to have any air bubbles or anything like that. So just smoothing them out, make sure there's no air bubbles or wrinkles, and there it is. Silence is gold. I thought that went in all the, the gold leaf part and everything too. So again, I'm going to get out, well, not again, but I'm going to get out my collage podge. Anyway, this came from Hobby Lobby years ago, and I need to use it up before it goes bad. If it goes bad, I don't know. I've had it for years and years. So I'm just going to put a layer of it on here. And I do put 2 layers on. On the bag of Resin Crete, it does say you need to seal it with something. So, I mean, you can use other sealers. You could use Mod Podge. You could use polyurethane. But I have this and I need to use it, so that's what I'm going to use. And you do let the layers dry in between putting them on. And I do put them on over top of the gold leaf there too. And it does turn your Resin Crete a little bit darker. And I try to go in one direction with it because you can see the lines of your, the head of your brush on there. And then I just flipped it over after that dried, and I put 2 coats on the bottom also. You do want to seal the whole thing, but you can see there how it gets darker with the gloss on it. So let that dry and then put a second coat on. And there's my tray. I have to say I like it. I think it turned out pretty good. I don't hate it. I like it. I like it. Like I said, I'll probably, when I put jewelry on and then I go to take it off or whatever, I'll have a dish to put it in. And now back to the hearts. So we have our Kiss Me and we have our XO. So what I have is some metallic purple paint, and I got it from Hobby Lobby. And I think it's Crafter something or another, and it's pretty cheap. It's actually, I think, cheaper than Walmart. And it's just acrylic paint. So I'm just taking a sponge dauber, and I was going over the letters. And really that's all I wanted to do was the letters, but then, you know, I got a little messy with it and I thought, okay, well, I'll just put a little on the heart itself. I guess I could have tried to clean it off or something, but you know what? I didn't want to mess with it, really. So yeah, I'm just very lightly using my sponge dauber and going around the edges now. And I went over the words. But like I said, I did mess it up a little bit. Oh well, it's just going to go on my fridge as a magnet. And once that is dry, the paint is dry, I'm going to go over it with that decoupage stuff, glossy decoupage that I used on the tray. So I'm just going to use it on the hearts, and I do give it 2 coats. I'd already done the back of the hearts, so I'm just doing it on the front. Just make sure I don't have any globs of it in the letters or anything like that. Okay, so I had gotten these little button magnets from Amazon last year, I think it was, and they are sticky, but I'm going to add a little bit of 3-in-1 glue on it on the back side and just put it on the back of my heart there. And then I'm going to put this on my fridge. It may not be perfect, but you know what? It's good enough for me. So yeah, I do put a little bit of the 3-in-1 glue on this because I was afraid it's a sticker back, and I was afraid that, you know, it might lose its stickiness, and I wanted to make sure that it stayed on my heart. And these are actually on my fridge right now. So that one says XO. And the other one says, you can't really tell too much, Kiss Me. And there they are. You can kind of see it there. And those are magnetically stuck on that metal butterfly. And here's the tray. You have to tell me what you think of these two in the comments. Again, I'm Liz with Liz's Crafts. And if you like what you see, give me a thumbs up. And I want to thank all my subscribers and everyone who watches my videos. And I'll see you later. Bye.